Hi, day 56 of 365 days of realizations. Trina Wright here. So happy to be alive, filled with such gratitude for so many things in this very moment. The sun shining, the blue sky, being out in the semi-wilderness, surrounded by all of these trees, all those delightful birds. The freedom I feel to come here and walk in the middle of the day and make this video. And yesterday celebrating my aligned partnership, which is so funny because last night him and I were talking and laughing and giggling about how we celebrate that every day. And I wanted to talk about a little piece of that, like a piece of it, which is, again, being conscious. So I consciously choose every day to appreciate him, to be so over the top, just filled with joy, and not joy because it comes from him and I wouldn't have it without him, but actually joy in the celebration of this epic relationship that I created. And then to be like, not just the manifestation of it, but now I'm living in it. And I was thinking about how interesting that is, because I have some of those. Like I have these manifestations where I kind of can remember when they didn't exist, and then I can see all the little incremental steps that brought them into being and enjoying each step of that. And then when they're fully there, it's interesting, and to think about the different ways that I felt along the course of that little journey. And of course, the key being that I would say that I was in a sort of nonchalant vibration about it. Like I knew, doubtless, absolutely doubtless, that I would be in another relationship, but I didn't know when. But it never ever occurred to me that that wouldn't be part of my life. And I also knew that it was going to be the epic relationship, that the next relationship that I was in was going to be the one that was my all in, my like everything that was deep. So anyway, it's just interesting. I was playing with that little idea, and part of now that I'm in the manifestation, I want to use it as a blueprint for other things that I want to create in my life, and also to help me remember that how I feel is so important. I think I mentioned yesterday in the video about aligned partnership, you could check it out if you want, that one of the key things was that at that time I had made a decision to fall deliriously, intoxicatingly in love with myself, and part of that was framed by this: I'm going to do whatever feels good in the moment. I'm going to do it with myself. I'm not going to need a partner to do any of the things that I want to do. I'm going to find the joy that lives in here. I amplified the relationship with my inner being, and I was clear, crystal clear that I wasn't going to find any excuse. I wasn't going to let there be any excuse to not let the fullness of who I am flow. That remembrance that you are it. You're always it. You always have access to everything. You are flowing source in every given moment. It is flowing to you and through you. It is you. And so when we don't see it, it's simply because we don't see it. And I was talking to Frank today, and I had this really cool image. If you're at all familiar with Bentino Massaro's teachings, then you would know that he talks about there being a nanosecond. Every nanosecond we choose a different reality. So the realities, it's funny the way I conceptualize it, and I'm not sure if this is true, but sort of like these vertical rows of images. And in any given moment, I mean, there's infinite ones, but that's really hard for our mind to fathom. So there is these infinite images, and moment, every nanosecond we're picking a new image. They often look the same as the one before. It's so incremental. It's so fast. Not incremental, but it's so fast that we can't even really see the difference. So it seems like the seamless reality, because that's what we're going here for. But what I was thinking about is when we choose a moment, it's like the projection that I am choosing. So in every nanosecond, conscious or not, I am choosing to create my reality. The projection then comes out and becomes my reality from that chosen place. So what is it that is the essence of what I'm choosing? I mean, it would be beautiful if we could all just sit in the room and look at every picture and go, oh, I like that one, and then I like that one, and then I like that one, not be constrained by linearity, not be constrained by limits, live in total abundance and all those things. But I actually think for most people, even those that think they're a little more conscious, that what happens is we filter that projection through lack. So, or through limitations, or through all of the nonsense that we picked up through the course of our entire life that looked like every experience I've ever had, every choice I've ever made and how it landed, every time I did this and then it looks like that. Like every time I had something that I didn't feel good, I attributed it to a circumstance. Even though it's not true that it was the fault of this circumstance, that's what I attributed it to. So now those have formed this screen, so to speak, this filter with which now I bring and I filter every moment through it. So when I'm in the moment of choosing, I'm not choosing freely, I'm choosing, but I can't really see all the choices because when I look through that filter, I see only a certain selection of them. And what's interesting to me is, so what we mostly do in the spiritual realm is we spend all our time trying to figure out how to clean the lens of the projector, how to get all the screens and filters and curtains, whatever you want to call them, that are standing between us and what we really want to see, that's dulling down and adding lack to our experience. We spend a lot of time trying to get all that out of there so that we can cleanly see it better. When in actual fact, all we needed to do so simply was just turn the projector over there where all of that isn't there and just look through it purely. So to me, it's like, do you want to look through the filter of lack, or do you want to look only through the filter of source, which technically isn't a filter, because as soon as you let go of lack, then everything is source and there is nothing else to see except through the eyes of source, except through source. So when you think about your life, do you want to live a life filtered through lack, through your limitations, through every experience you've ever had that you created when you didn't know you were creating it? I mean, you were still creating it, you just didn't have that awareness. Is that what you want to be the basis of your next moment and your next moment and your next moment, or your next nanosecond, if we really want to take it to that level? Or do you want it to be based on what you can see through the filter of source, through the lens of source, which is infinite potential, infinite possibilities, limitless, loved beyond measure, unconditional in everything you think it is. Anything you could possibly think of is relevant and valid for you and plausible, especially if it's in line with why you think you're here, or whatever it is you're here to learn. If it's coming from that deepest soul place within yourself, wouldn't you want to have that? I mean, it's like this idea. I remember I used to say, I am source manifested in a body. I am the physicalized expression of source. Well, if you really took that seriously, if you really, really knew that, if you knew it, like just knew that that was true, that you are the physicalized expression of source, how would you want to express today? When you think about what source is, what does source see? How does source experience things? What's the vibration of source energy? Is it love? Is it light? Is it joy? Is it bliss? Is it anger? Is it sadness? Is it despair? Is it lack? Is it limitation? Or is it, holy moly, geez, I can do anything that I want to do because I am unlimited. I am powerful and filled with the energy that creates worlds. I can be, do, or have anything. Is it like that? And which one of those do you want to choose? And what would it take to, from now on, just move your projector to see, not only to see the things that you want to create, not only to see the potentials of what you can create, but even to use it to then look back at anything you have created, because in a split second, seriously, that could just, all that stuff gone. So that all the junk that you've been looking at the world through could just be evaporated, could just be dissolved just by that simple shift. Because that can't resonate with you. It can't mean anything to you. It doesn't have meaning. It's not the filter you would ever see the world through if you were only focused on seeing it through the eyes of source. If you knew 100%, if you knew to the fullness of all that you could believe, if you stood in the conviction that you are an unlimited being of love and light, that stuff, that's just like old news. That's just like, oh yeah, that's that evidence that was hanging around to show me that I didn't know who I really am. Gone, because now I know who I am. It might still pop up. It might still say, hey, we were friends a long time ago. Do you want to play or not? And you would say, no, thank you, because you would know I got new friends, and my new friends are called infinite, possibility, joy, bliss, exuberance, creatorship, manifestation, the universe amazing and delighting me over and over and over again. I think it is. Seeing my creatorship out loud, seeing the joyous epicness all around me, knowing my own epicness, knowing my own worthiness, just being wrapped and bathed in that unconditional love. That's what I want. That's what I would choose. And all that other stuff, it can't even resonate. None of those beliefs could even be in the vicinity of it. They're just through the law of attraction. It took care of it. So guess what? I don't need to do anything about it. I don't need to clean it up. I don't need to to bang it out of here. I don't need to do anything with it. In fact, I don't even need to clean the lens, because as I moved it over to source, it just came back into focus. And now I see clearly, so that I can meet each moment freely, and I can meet each moment standing in the conviction of my infiniteness, of my beingness, of my creatorship, of my potentiality, of my certainty, of my sure-footedness. And I can just stand there and expect and expect and expect all over the place magic to just align everything up for me all the time, in every in every second, nanosecond moment, all of it, just over and over and over again. Totally blow your mind, because you can't even fathom what the universe would have in store with you as soon as you stop looking at it through those limitations, through that fuzzy projection, and start looking at it through the clarity of what your inner being sees, what source sees, what is truth and the only truth. Then it changes everything. And it's so funny. I just want to share this funny little tiny little thing, and then I'll be done for this day. My daughter, who is 16, is playing around with all of these concepts a little bit. I mean, she says, Mom, I believe most of the things you say. She wants to call it, instead of source, the universe. That fits for her, and it's all just cool. It is. It's just so fun to see her. And she has this way. I mean, she's manifested like a job that was an hour and a half and paid $50 to lift something. She had this babysitting gig for a while that just showed up out of the blue when she wanted to have some money for something. She just does seem to have this way to manifest a lot of things, especially when she has a lot of confidence. And so she's been feeling into, she goes to a charter school, and we haven't lived here that long. And so she's been feeling like, you know what, I want to have a little bit more of a social life. I'm really grounded in my own self. I spend a lot of time with myself, and I know that she really does love herself. But it would be fun to sort of do some of those teenager things, maybe even potentially have a boyfriend. And her best friend, who's also her cousin, my niece, has had that. She's 17 and she's moved into having a boyfriend. So my daughter's had a few relationships before, and they didn't always end the way she wanted them to. In fact, one of them didn't end very well at all. And so from this new place that she was sitting, she's just starting to sort of tap into it, just step into that possibility. And lo and behold, she meets a boy. And the next thing you know, he had dinner at our house last night, and I met his parents the night before. And very, very sweet boy, like a very sweet boy. And at times she's like, I'll say, he's so sweet. And she'll be like, I know, it's just so good, Mom. It's so cool. And he's so nice and so sweet. And it's like, she seems slightly surprised. And I'll sort of ask her about it. And I'll say, didn't you tell the universe that this is what you wanted? And she started telling me some of the things that she listed. Like, some of the things were physical attributes. Like, he was taller than her, and he had longish hair, and you know, he's sweet, he has a heart, he's connected to himself, he has self-awareness, some of those things. And bang, he shows up, and she's like, where'd that come from? As if she doesn't, as if she knows that she creates it, but then when it showed up, she still was sort of surprised that she created it so well. That's what the universe has in store for all of us. And I get it. That's just a funny little thing because she's 16, but how cool to have that power when she's already 16 to understand who she really is and to understand how all of this is working, so that she can dance and play her way through her life and not have to take things too seriously. And of course, as her epic, creative, creation-based mom, and knowing how the universe works, I am reminding her that the dancing with herself is the most important thing, that feeling full from the inside out, and not putting any of her needs and stuff on him, like not looking to him to make her happy, owning that for herself so that then they can flow happiness together. Yes, I am still saying that, and for the most part she listens, but I also accept and totally am detached to the fact that she is going to have her own experience that is going to be perfectly attuned for her, perfectly her creation, and it's going to take her to whatever it is that she needs to find on her way, because let's face it, experience teaches, words don't. And that's why I always invite you to step into an experience with yourself, put something out there that you want, and watch the magic of the universe deliver it. Now, that said, the magic of the universe shows up when you can allow it, when you can stop looking in that pile over there of all that stuff that you put between you and knowing your own magic, and you move away from it, turn your projector to look at the way the inner being is looking at it, the way the universe is looking at it, the way it is actually designed. When you can do that single focusly, no problem. Everything shows up for you. So I leave you with that.